Hello, dear students. Welcome to the live session. This is a live class of strategic management by Ramcharan sir. Over to Ramcharan sir.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Alok sir, for the introduction. I hope all of you are ready for this session. So this session would go for about, say, 30 to 40 minutes. And we have certain things which are set for this session. So even before we start off with the session that we have planned for, let me just remind you that the executive classes at Ekcel Academy has already been started in the sense we are inviting registrations. If you are looking for a course to join to prepare well for your executive exams, you have to just go to the description of this video and the link is available over there. You have to just fill some of the basic fields and the support team will get in touch with you and they'll be giving you all the required information, and they will also extend a free counseling program which should help you to understand the course, and it should set the direction for all of you to do well in the chosen course. So click on the description, there is a link available. You just have to fill it and things will start rolling. Right, so let's begin with today's session. So today's session is on strategic management. This is a part of the module 2 and paper 8 part B. So part A is financial management. Part A, that is financial management, is for 60 marks. And part B, which is strategic management, it is for 40 marks. I'm very sure this is one of the most interesting parts or papers that you have. Lot to discuss, lot to learn. And one beautiful thing about any management is it is not somewhere in a place which we cannot access or see. It is not like our basic sciences. For example, if you take basic science, we generally study about atoms, and inside atoms we study about the protons and neutrons and electrons and peptons and all those things, a lot of things. So it is something which is invisible. But when it comes to management, the beauty of management is a social science. So it doesn't exist somewhere in isolation, but it exists amongst us, it exists amidst us. So it makes it rather more easier and interesting for us to know, understand, and perform. So when we study, you might have studied, or you would have definitely studied management subjects in your undergraduate course or in your post-graduation course, or introduction to management happens at the +2 level itself. So this is something which all of you are aware of. Here we are taking the, or the institute has taken the concepts to the next level. You come across some of the wonderful concepts and models and other things, and that should help you to become better managers tomorrow. That should help you to become better company secretaries tomorrow. It should also give you an idea how an organization works, and it should help you to analyze, understand, and assess the environment in which you all operate. So this is a very, very practical subject, and it is something which everybody would enjoy, and you would definitely have a great time learning this subject. So the first thing that all of us have to understand is what is this management subject all about? In a very simple way, if I have to put it across, management is actually the offspring of economics and psychology. Management heavily derives from both economics as well as psychology. So the root is found in economics as well as in psychology, because a lot of things that we study in management is related to human behavior, human relationships, and human attitude. So that's one part of it. And all the technical aspects, it might be as simple as demand and supply, or it might be as complicated as the GDP or GNP of the country. So all these things are taken from economics and psychology, and that makes it more interesting. Like I told you, management doesn't exist in isolation, but it exists amidst us. So every day, everywhere in your life, in my life, in your families, in my family, we will find management. And in the places we work, that we are working at present, and in the places which you would be opting to work later, you will find the application of all that you study. So this is a simple introduction to management. So what is strategic management all about? You might be knowing, you might have studied this earlier also. Strategy is a kind of plan, and it is a long-term plan. So while making a strategy, we consider all the things that are related to it. We consider all the resources, we consider the positives, we weigh the negatives, and we see the future, we take into consideration the past experience. When all these things are brought together, and then we come out with a long-term plan, that becomes the strategy. So a strategy is a long-term plan which involves a lot of factors before coming out with any particular answer. So strategically, how do we manage a company, or strategically, how should we manage the company, becomes the subject matter of this paper. Right, let's proceed ahead. Even before getting into one or two things that we are that we'll be discussing from the syllabus, first let us very quickly go through the syllabus that is there for you all. This syllabus starts with introduction to management. Here we will very quickly brush up all that you have learned so far, like what is management, definition of management, and who are those people who practice management. Then we study about the different functions of management: planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, controlling. All those things are covered in this chapter. More or less all that you have studied in your business management course at your UG level gets covered in this chapter. From there, we move on to introduction to strategic management. So here it becomes very specific. We narrow down to the title of the subject, and here we understand what is a strategy, which are the different levels of strategies that you have, who does a strategy, and why is a strategy required for a company, and what are the positives that we can derive out of having right strategies, and what are the right things that we can derive by implementing the right strategies. All that is covered in the second chapter. Business policy and formulation of functional strategy. So this is a chapter where we talk about policy making. Now, as company secretaries, you will be spending a lot of time understanding and creating and establishing policies for a company. What is to be done, how it is to be done, when it is to be done, by whom it is to be done. All these things are important part of policy. Policy is also a type of plan. So here a policy becomes a standard thing. It is a generalized thing. So how do we come out with business policies? That is the content of your chapter number 3. Then comes the strategic analysis. Once the strategy is implemented, how is it doing? In which direction it is going? There are different models that are available for us to understand what exactly it does. So this is one of the most beautiful chapters that is there in the syllabus. I'm not denying the fact that I'm not telling that other chapters are not interesting. Other chapters are equally interesting. But strategic analysis has got its own flavor, which students like you all would enjoy every time when this chapter is taken up and discussed. Then comes the strategic implementation. So strategic implementation is very important. See, like they tell, any ship is very safe in the dock, but the purpose of building that ship is not to park it in the dock, but it should sail. That's the whole objective of building a ship. So we need to implement all that we discuss and all that we derive and draft. So that is where implementation comes. So after implementing, we come to know how well the strategy actually functions. And finally, analyzing strategic edge. Here we discuss some of the latest things. See, it is like this. In physics, we study something called the modern physics. Modern physics is almost 60, 70, 80 years old. So very similar thing here. We talk about something like TQM and all that. These are 20, 30 years old. These are not very new, but still, these are some of the most performing things that we find in management. So such things are covered in the last chapter. So by and large, you should be enjoying this entire syllabus. It should leave you with a lot of learning, a lot of insights, and it should prepare you for the kind of corporate life that all of you are looking ahead for. So this syllabus is very well written, to be very honest. Many things are taken from the research papers. Very interesting. And at right point, you come across case studies. Case studies are the live examples which are taken from the functional companies, and it is discussed with you all. So it's a very interesting subject. So at Ekcel Academy also, we had a discussion how to go about this subject. So we were also thinking about solving more number of case studies and trying to understand, trying to bring in practical element to the whole discussion, which would make this entire syllabus very interesting. So this is the overview of the syllabus, and this is our idea to approach this entire syllabus to make it practical by having case studies and discussions and other things. So this is about the strategic management. There are certain messages which have come. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Selvi. Then there is another one which says Republic Day greetings to all. Wish you a very happy Republic Day too. It is one of the national festivals that we celebrate. Thank you very much. Sri Durga is wishing hello, sir. Hello, Sri Durga. Right. If you have any questions, you can definitely write those questions in the chat box. Like I told you, we are restricting this session to about 40 minutes. So as far as possible, let us try to keep the discussion to the subject, to the syllabus, to the topics that we are discussing today, so that we effectively and efficiently utilize the time that we have set aside for this live session. And management is all about making things effective and efficient. So let's start with whatever we have to discuss today. So who makes a successful manager? So this is a question with which we would be starting the session. So who makes a successful manager? See, everybody, be it at home or outside in a company or whatever it is, we are all managers. We would keep managing a lot of things. What is the reason behind this? Why should we even manage? Again, like I told you, management derives a lot of things from economics. So the whole problem here is, why should we even manage? Resources are scarce. Given a finance manager has to manage the finance, how much of money is coming in and how much of money is going out, from where is it coming and where it is going, and how much is going on which item. This is what the finance manager has to think. And the primary role, this is an American definition, but still the primary role of any finance manager is to increase the wealth of the investors. So he should make sure that he reduces the cost, increases the profitability. So this is the whole idea behind a finance manager. So the point is, why should we even do it? That's the question that arises. Like I told you, we derive a lot of things from economics, and the basic principle that we learn or that we are taught in economics is resources are scarce. A finance manager given a chance would like to have 100 crore rupees at his disposal, and he should be given the free hand to utilize that 100 crore rupees. But will every finance manager working in every small, big, large companies has an access to 100 crore rupees? Maybe, may not be in most of the cases. So with the little amount of money that he has got, with little resources he has got, he has to make sure that he increases the wealth of the investors. This is the same thing with marketing managers. Given a chance, the marketing managers would like to hire most creative people available in the market, pay them the most handsome salary that is possible, and come out with some of the wonderful marketing plans and drafts and all those things, and make sure that they get the best of the customers, the cream of the customers to their company. But is it possible? Definitely not possible. Again, there is shortage of resources. So with all these constraints, with all the scarcities, the manager has to prove that he is successful, and he has to be successful. So who makes a successful manager? A person who can make timely, very, very important. Taking the right decision at the right time by the right person in the right place is the most important thing. If decisions are not taken at the right time, we cannot expect great results. We cannot expect a person to become successful manager. So timely decisions are to be taken, number one. Number two, the decision should be correct to the largest possible extent. That's also very important. We cannot take some vague decision just like that. Most of the time, the business promoters or entrepreneurs or managers fail to take correct decisions. Why? What could be the reason? There are a lot of reasons that are available. One of the most common reasons is they mix emotion while taking decisions. So let's understand one thing very, very clearly. Business is a very practical thing, and business is ruthless, right? Business is merciless. So those people who do right things at the right time are the only people who are appreciated by this whole concept of business, and business appreciates them, rewards them. So taking right decision or taking correct decision is very important. And one of the primary things to be practiced is never mix emotion while taking business decisions. So somebody who can remain rational to a very large extent are the people who would be becoming or who would make it as the successful managers. So taking correct decision means here taking rational decisions. So what are rational decisions? Decisions which are based on facts and figures, which are data driven, right? And where there is a clear idea about what is right and what is wrong. So such decisions are to be taken. So first thing is the decision should be timely. Second thing to be done is it should be correct. Third one is it should be an effective decision. So when I say effective, it should have a positive impact on the gamut of activities that we are taking up. So these are some of the basic things any aspiring manager or practicing manager has to keep in mind that makes them successful. So these are some of the traits or some of the practices that a person should imbibe in himself to become a successful manager. So this is about. We were talking about taking rational decisions. So when we talk about rational decision making in management, there are different models that are available. So these models should help any manager to assess, analyze, understand, get insights into the situation in which he is dealing with, and that should help him to take right decision. So in this class, what I've done is I have taken 3 tools which any manager, these are very basic tools that I've taken. So 3 tools which a manager can actually utilize to take right decisions. That is what is being done in this live session. So the 3 tools that are being discussed are SWOT analysis, then the BCG model, and at the end we would be discussing the product life cycle. So let us learn these 3 things, and it is a part of your syllabus as well. So let's understand how it helps a manager to take right decisions. Right. So we shall start with the tool number 1, which should help a manager to take the right decision. And it is a SWOT analysis. This is something which all of us have heard. This is not, for most of us who are a part of this class, this is definitely not something new, right? This is something which all of us have heard. People would have used this acronym called SWOT, SWOT. And what does SWOT stand for? It stands for strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. So who can use this tool? That's very important. Why should they use? If they use it, how are they going to be beneficial? This is something which we have to understand. SWOT analysis is one of the basic tools used by managers to understand the internal environment as well as the external environment. So what is environment? Environment is where all of us operate, right? I'm not talking about the natural environment which we are all surrounded by. I'm not talking about air, water, the biotics and the abiotics and all that. I'm talking about the business environment. So if you place the business at the center, there are 2 environments which covers this whole business. One is the internal environment, where most of the things are under the control of the business. Say, for example, the brand name, the product that you want to manufacture, the vision and mission statement of the company. So all these are a part of the internal environment of the business, and it is completely controlled by the promoters of the business. So that is internal environment. In management, we also tell that control the controllables. So if at all you want to control something, if at all you want to bring about a change in something, if at all you want to improvise something, try to bring all those things in the internal environment, because the external environment is so very huge. It is, however big you are, you will not be in a position to control or change it. If I ask you a question, who is the biggest industrialist or businessman of India, the first name that comes to our mind is Mukesh Ambani. Today, he is one of the prominent and highly performing business promoters in the country, right? He is also first or second richest man in the whole of Asia, and definitely the richest man in the country. So what do we understand here is, even though he has such big business, okay, somebody has told Tata, yes, Tata Sons also. Tata is also one of the largest conglomerates that we find in the country, right? They are also called a pin to plane company. They manufacture. They're also called salt to software company. You have Tata Salt. You also have Tata Consultancy Services. So these are some of the names that comes to our mind immediately when we think about some of the successful businessmen in the world. They are undoubtedly so very big, but are they in a position to change the entire business environment of India? Definitely not. They are definitely they are definitely called influencers. They are called the shakers and movers, right? And they are supposed to be having clout in the business environment, but they also cannot bring in a change overnight, right? But there are certain disruptive innovations that they have done, and it has shaken the way in which the industry performs. For example, Geo was introduced sometime during 2016, and after that, the way in which the telecommunication industry of India is performing has changed to a very large extent. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Airtel, which was the largest telecommunication service provider and the most profitable company, today says it is becoming extremely difficult to operate in the telecommunication industry because of the price war which Jio has started and the kind of tariffs that Jio is extending. Anyway, so what we understand here is, however big you are, it is not possible. One or two exceptions are always there, but it is next to impossible to bring about a complete change in the external environment. Anyway, so to keep our discussion to the point that we are focusing on, how do we understand the environment? So we divide the environment into two parts: internal environment, external environment. Internal environment starts with the vision, mission, product, promoters, policies of the company. All these things becomes the internal environment of the company. External environment will mostly have customers, competitors, then we will have suppliers. Then we'll also have the political environment, economic environment, social environment, cultural environment, then the technological environment, legal environment. All these things are external in nature. So what is SWOT analysis all about? SWOT analysis helps us to an extent to understand the internal as well as the external environment. If you look at the slide very closely, what you see there is I have put strengths and weaknesses together. I have put opportunity and threat in the second set. So strength and weaknesses, when we conduct in detail analysis of the strengths and weaknesses that the company has, that the department has, or an individual has, we will more or less understand our internal environment. This can be done on ourselves as well. As individuals, we can conduct the strength and weaknesses. We can try to find out strength and weaknesses. As an individual, I can tell my strengths are 1, 2, 3, 4. My weaknesses are these 1, 2, 3, 4. So this can be done and we can understand ourselves in a better manner. So that is about the strengths and the weaknesses. What are opportunities and threats? Both opportunities and threat are found outside the company. Opportunity may be changing customer expectations, and that is favoring your company. Opportunity may be change in the government policy. Opportunity can also be reduction in tax, or maybe provision by the government to extend subsidies. So all these are opportunities and they're outside. What are threats? A new competitor entering the market, a new substitute being found, or increase in the or maybe increase in the export tax. So these are threats to a business, and these come from outside. So when we conduct the SWOT analysis helps us to understand the internal environment, because strengths and weaknesses are internal to a business organization, whereas opportunities and threat come from outside. So when we thoroughly analyze the external environment, we'll be able to understand the opportunities and threats. So this is SWOT analysis. This is the first tool that I wanted to discuss with you all, and this is the tool which a manager can use to understand where exactly his company stands and what are the future prospects of the company. I hope you have understood the SWOT analysis, right? So somebody has written Aditya Birla. Definitely yes, Aditya Birla, which is led by Kumaramangalam Birla, is one of the leading conglomerates again in the country. And somebody has written ACZ. ACZs are special economic zones. So special economic zones are basically set up to promote the exports of the company. If you all remember, if you again, I have to quote something from economics here. If you all remember, the formula, one of the formulas to find out GDP is GDP is equal to consumption plus investment plus government spending plus net X. So net X is actually the difference between imports and exports. Any country which wants to do extremely well in the economic front should try to reduce the imports, that is by finding out substitutes for all the imports, and increase the exports. So when exports are increased, our foreign transaction increases, and our foreign reserves will increase, and we'll be able to do well. So SEZs are basically set up, that is the special economic zones are especially set up to encourage the export oriented companies so that they are able to export more and they'll be able to contribute to the country's GDP. Anyway, so that is something related to SEZs. I hope all of you have understood the first tool which can help a person become a successful manager. It is to understand the SWOT analysis really well and to do it very professionally, so that there is a clear understanding of the internal as well as the external environment. Right. So let me just remind you, for those who have just joined the session, there is a link which is provided in the description of this video. You can just click on that link and you can fill up the details. The support team will get in touch with you. They will give you all the details that you are looking for regarding the executive program that is extended by Ekcel Academy. And they will also give you the free counseling which is required to set the direction right so that you all do well in the executive course. Anyway, so this is about the first tool. Let's move on. So here we have the next tool that comes up. Just a minute. I'll just erase all this. So the next tool that we are talking about is the BCG model. See, every company will have a product portfolio. What is the meaning of product portfolio? Product portfolio is every company will have a set of products that they'll be dealing with. So if they have to put all that in an order and try to understand what exactly should they do with each product, BCG model will be of great help to them. So what does BCG stand for? BCG stands for Boston Consultancy Group. So this is one of the leading marketing consultancy group in the world, and they have come out with this model. So even before we get into the model, we have to understand two concepts here. One is the market growth, other is the market share. So what is market growth and market share? Let us say there are 100 customers who are available in the market for a particular product. Let us say the product that we're talking is product X. And there are three companies, company A, company B, and company C. So company A has 40 customers. Company B has 45 customers out of the 100 customers available. And company C has 15 customers. So what is this? This is the market share, right? This is the market share. So A enjoys 40% of the market share, B enjoys 45% of the market share, and C enjoys 15% of the market share. So how do we calculate relative market share? Let us say we have to calculate this for company C. So what we do is 15, that is company C's market share, divided by the market leader's market share. So market leader in this case is company B, and company B's market share is 45. So we take that in the denominator. Let us multiply with this with 100. Here we are trying to take the percentage. So simple mathematics, 15 ones are 15 nines are 100 divided by 9. So somewhere around 8 to 9% is the relative market share. So when compared to the market leader, in comparison, when we take the ratio, it's around 8 to 9% is the relative market share of company C. So this is about the market share. What is market growth? Let's take another example. We will be able to understand. So let me erase this first, and then we can go to the market growth. Say there is a company which has sold 100 units of a good. Let the good be again X. So they have sold 100 units this year. Next year, they will sell 120 units. So how many more units have they sold? They have sold 20 more units. So what is their market growth? Their market growth is 20%. So these are the two things that we have to understand before we start with the BCG model. First one is the market share. Out of the total market that is available, how many customers purchase goods and services from you? That becomes the market share. When we compare the one company's market share with the market leader, it becomes the relative market share. What is market growth? Market growth is how many units have you sold last year? How many units have you sold this year? Is there a positive change? If there is a positive change, then it means that we have grown. So this is about the market growth. So now if you look at this diagram, which is here, it has 4 quadrants. So let us start from here. This is first quadrant. This is the second quadrant. This becomes the third quadrant. And this is the fourth quadrant. So these are the 4 quadrants that we have. So the first quadrant is a question mark. So what's happening with the question mark? Here, the market growth is very high. It means that this product is new and every day they are able to acquire new customers and they are growing well. But the market share is low. The number of customers who are with this product is actually on the lower side. So there is a question mark on the product. What will happen to the future of this product? Will it become a real big product which is aspired by everybody? Or is it that the product fails and everybody will forget that product? So there is a question mark on the future of that product, and that is why it is in the first quadrant. So this is where we start with the question mark. A product is newly introduced. There is no market share available, but it is growing well. But there is a question mark. We are not very sure what exactly happens with the product. So that is the first quadrant. The second quadrant, if you move, you have the star. So star is a star, right? Superstar. So who's a superstar? Superstar is somebody, whatever he does is a success. So here, if you see, the market growth is also high. The market share is also high. So this product is doing extremely well, right? You can take the example of, say, for example, you can take, say, Colgate salt. So Colgate salt has a big market share. That's an example, hypothetical example that I'm giving. It has high market share. It has high market growth. Or a real life example, if you want to take, you can take Dantakanti, which is Dantakanti toothpaste, which is introduced by Patanjali. Although the product is very new, it is some 4-5 years old, and they're dealing with FMCG market, and they've already captured 2 to 3% of the market share. So that goes to show they have a huge, because in FMCG, capturing 2-3% of the market is huge because the consumption is very high. These are fast moving consumer goods, and the growth is also phenomenal. From 0% 5-6 years back to 2-3% in FMCG toothpaste market is a phenomenal growth. So this in Patanjali company, if you take, Dantakanti would be a star product. From there, we move to the cash cows. So what are cash cows? So what's happening here is they have low growth. These products are not able to add new customers to themselves, but what's happening is their market share is very, very high. It means that they have done everything that had to be done, and now they're sitting back and harvesting all that they are doing. So that is the cash cow for us. There are no new customers who are getting added, but what we see is they are able to do extremely well. So that is about the products. I hope now the picture is clear. Few of you told that picture is not clear. I think now the picture is clear. Selvi, are you able to see the diagram now? I have sort of enlarged it. Is it clear? Are you able to see? Please confirm. We can proceed. Okay, I hope it is much clearer now. Now we will move on to the last quadrant. And if you see the last quadrant, you have the dog. So what does the dog stand for? Dog stands for failure. Correct? Here, The DOG stands for failure. So here what is happening, the market growth is also low. Thank you, Selvi. The market growth is also low and the market share is also low. It means that the product has reached the last stage. So now we are studying strategic management. Now we understood the model. There are two parameters that are considered: the market growth and the market share. We have the 4 quadrants that we have considered: the question mark, the stars, and the cash cow and the dogs. In the question mark, there is a question mark on the future of the product. Star is a product which is doing extremely well. Cow is a quadrant where the product has high growth and high share, and dog is somewhere where growth and share, everything is low. Correct? So what are the things you are supposed to do if you are one of the consultants or you are the manager in a company? For the question mark product, it is all about build it, spend on marketing, create awareness, let the growth continue, and hold on and build your market share. So that is a strategy. Build your product. So that's the strategy for question mark. Star is doing well. You can see here, high here, high here. So it is doing well. So what is to be done? Hold on to it, right? Try to maintain your position. I know competition is increasing, more number of competitors are entering the market. All those things are there, but try to hold on to your position and try to be a star in the industry in which you are dealing with. Cow, what is happening? You are not able to add new customers, I understand, but do not worry. You already have a huge market share. So what are you supposed to do is you have to harvest. Harvest is sit back and milk the cow as much as possible and make sure that you make a huge money, right? And the last one, dog. So the product has reached the stage where it is at the end stage. So what is to be done there? What is to be done is divest. Divest is stop investing on that product. Again, focus on your question mark or something and make sure the product is a success. Other products are successful. So when you look at the question mark is, if you do everything well, your product will go to the star quadrant. If you fail to do things well, your product will go to the dog quadrant. So you need to be a little careful when you're dealing with the question mark products. I hope you have understood the BCG model. And now we will move on to the last tool that I wanted to discuss with all of you. So this is again a part of marketing, right? I hope the picture is clear. Let me try to enlarge it so that you'll be able to see this. Right. This is called the product life cycle. I think the picture is much better now. It is enlarged. Okay. Now, like how all of us have a life cycle. When all of us were born, we were infants. Then we became toddlers. Then we were called children. Then we became teenagers. Then we became young adults. Later, we'll all be called adults. Then middle-aged people. Then senior citizen, super senior citizen. So that's how it goes. So very similar to that, a product will also have a life cycle. As managers, it is very important for us to understand the different stages through which the product actually grows. First, when the product is introduced, it is called introduction, right? So this is called introduction. The product is very, very new. And here we are taking time. If you see on the x-axis, we are taking time. And on the y-axis, we are taking the sales. So what's happening here, if you see, it is just introduced. Here it is 0 time. Say, let us call this as unit 1. So what we see here is the product is just introduced into the market. It is unknown. Brand is unknown. Company is unknown. Maybe the concept itself is so very new. People are not aware about the concept itself. So the product is just introduced to the market. Maybe the competition is on the lower side. Maybe there are few companies. Competition is on the lower side. And a lot of effort is to be put as a strategy to make sure that this product is known to everybody. This product gets introduced to everybody. That's the meaning of introduction. The product should get introduced, right? So that is introduction. A lot of effort has to be put. What is seen is 88% of the businesses that start fail. So they don't fail during growth stage. They don't fail. If they fail during growth or maturity, they are not called failures. But if a product fails in the introductory stage itself, it's a big hit. And what we see is the failure rate is very, very high. So we need to be very careful. We need to be highly focused, and we need to have the right strategy in place to make sure that the product gets introduced and the product gets accepted by the people. That is the introductory stage. From there, once the introductory stage is over, when everybody knows about the product and the concept and the brand and all those things, the product moves on to the growth stage. So what happens in a growth stage? See, whatever it is, be it in our lives when we were growing as children, when we were growing in our careers, it is always the most beautiful stage, right? So that's why people tell on the philosophical lines, we should never stop growing. We should never kill the child which is in us. We should always be open for learning and accepting the changes. So growth is something which is similar to that. And it is one of the most beautiful stages in the product life cycle. Here the market share grows. Here the growth is on the higher side. Innovation comes in. New features are added. Along with all these things, competition is also added. There are new players who come, because once the product has been accepted by the people, when the concept of the product is accepted by the people, it means that the product is growing, the profits are also growing because the market share and growth is also increasing. This simply attracts more and more people to come in and do the business, right? So that's how it is. So competition is also increasing. And here, again, the strategy of the company should be very clear. The strategy of the company is to beat the competition, provide high quality product, provide timely supply, add new features, innovate it. So that will help you to grow up the graph. So then comes the maturity. So what is maturity? Maturity is the market has consolidated small time players, unfocused players, players who did not have the right resource, players who did not do the right decision. They would have all gone from the race. Only the ones who could consolidate, who could sustain all the onslaught that the external and the internal environment would have given, are the products which will go on top and survive. And here there is nothing much to do, like the cow stage in BCG model. Here it is a time to harvest. Here it is a time to sit back and enjoy the returns of all the hard work. It is a time to take the rewards. But this also comes with the danger. What is the danger here? Danger here is, if you look at the trajectory is going downwards. It is not increasing. It means that we are almost hitting the last point. So that is maturity. So maturity is all about making the best use of all that has been done. And once we cross the maturity stage, then comes the decline. So what happens in decline? New products will come, new ideas will come, the concept will get changed, the market will change, the needs and wants of the people will change, the taste and preferences of the customers will change. So as a result of this, some products will be rejected. Take, for example, typewriter. Who will buy typewriter today? The technology has completely changed and typewriter has become obsolete, right? If you talk about maturity, so maturity is, take, for example, certain cars, right? They have reached a stage where they cannot further innovate and they'll only be phased off. If they want to return, there should be something very new, something very different that has to be done. For example, if you take Maruti Desire, Maruti Swift, so there was no further thing that they could do. So people were expecting that this will be phased off because they have reached the maturity. But company did not do that. Company re-innovated their looks and their features and the price and all that. Everything was reworked on, and it has again gone back to the growth stage. Anyway, so this is the product life cycle which every manager should keep in mind and make sure that he understands in which stage the product is in, and then adopt the right technologies to make sure that the product is a successful one, the organization or the company is successful, and at the individual level, at the manager's level, he is a success as far as his career is concerned. So these were the three tools that I had planned to discuss with you all. I hope this made some sense to you and you were able to understand whatever was being explained and discussed. Let me just remind, for those of you who have just joined now, there is a link in the description. You just have to click on that link and fill up some very simple fields. the support team will get in touch with you. They will give you all the details that you want to know about the executive program and the way in which Ekcel Academy executes and provides the executive program. And they will also help you to get the free counseling from the practicing company secretaries. And that should help you to understand and get direction in whatever you are doing. Right. It was very nice interacting with all of you. If you still have doubts, I'll be here for another 20-30 seconds. You can leave your doubts and I should be happy to answer all your doubts. All right. I think there are no doubts that are coming from your side. So let me wrap up this session. Wish you all a good night and hope to see you all soon in the executive classes. Thank you so much.